Hello, this is Marvelous Action Figures, and these are Marvelous Action Figures. These are the gorgeous ThreeZero MDLX Transformers, the classic Transformers. You've got Bumblebee, the gold version here. You've got the awesome, the ever amazing Optimus Prime. You've got Megatron, and then you've got Rodimus Prime over here as well. These are fantastic. I love these figures so much. And today I want to talk about some wish lists, because I haven't done a wish list for ages. A wish list, because everyone keeps leaking all the figures that are coming up. So you can't do wish lists anymore because there's already got all the wish lists are out there. But anyway, I'm going to do a little wish list of classic Transformers. And in terms of this MDLX range, the classic Transformers, not only have we got these four here, but you can add to it obviously the classic yellow version of Bumblebee, and then you can add Cliff Jumper to it. And then we've had pre-release, pre-order information. So my pre-order is in for Starscream, who's on the way, which is looking fantastic figures. And again, we're going to be one of the first of the jets. So those three classic jets that you had in the original classic Transformers. More on what I'm calling classic Transformers in just a moment. But you had Starscream, Skywarp, and Thundercracker were the first of the three classic jets. So Starscream is on his way, and then you've got Sideswipe as well, which also looks fantastic as well. So another Autobot car. Now obviously these are non-transforming figures. We do also know that on the way, which I'm eagerly waiting to pre-orders for, is the comic book edition of Megatron, which is with the darker helmet and then the repaint across the legs and the body, which is exactly out of the comic book. And that's really where I'm focusing. So I'm going to kind of, in terms of my interpretation of classic Transformers, I'm generally going to be focused on those original 80s comics and what were the original 80s figures when they were released. But then the cartoon series, obviously, where this classic Megatron is from, is very much aligned to that, and by a couple of different color schemes, they're all pretty much the same. So I'm kind of cruising between those two areas. So I picked out 5, which is a weird number because there's 2 factions, but you'll see what I mean when I get to that. And just for an early spoiler of what I'm not including, so I was going to put Soundwave in, and again, I'm not being greedy because I want all the classic Transformers, but I did put Soundwave in there initially, but I've taken him out because it's actually a pretty sweet ThreeZero version of Soundwave from Bumblebee movie already. So I've left him out of what would have been 6, so just rather 5, because this is top 5, obviously, and you know, top 5s, top 10s, they're what we know. So I've got a top 5 of the classic Transformers, and here they are. So there we go. I've tried to balance it up and get a little crew together with this group here. So looking through my list, so my number one, my absolute number one is Shockwave, because for me, when I was a kid in the 80s, reading the Transformer comics, Shockwave was scary. He was creepy because he arrived on Earth. He basically destroyed all the Autobots. He ripped Optimus Prime's head off him and had him captive for so many issues. He extracted the creation matrix out of him to create the Constructicons. And he looked creepy. And also, you couldn't get him in the UK as a figure. We didn't have the ability to import figures in those days like we do now, and all these pre-orders from all these suppliers. You either went to the toy shop and bought them, or you didn't get them. Or in this case, you either went to America from the UK and you got him, and that didn't happen. And it was the same with the Constructicons as well, annoyingly, because they look great as well. So Shockwave is a number one pick for me because he just looks scary and creepy, and he gives me all the chills over that original. And he was that first sort of weird Transformer looking without a face at that point. So Shockwave is my number one on that list there. And then I've gone two Decepticons, 2 Autobots, and a Dinobot in there as well. So on that list, then I'm going into the future for another character to sit with Rodimus Prime here. And that's his nemesis, Galvatron, who obviously comes from this guy from that original Transformers the movie. And Galvatron is not the greatest looking, but I do love him. He is really cool. I do like the colour scheme to him. I love the fusion cannon. For me at that era, those were the first sort of like futuristically looking Transformers. Ironically, we're talking about alien robots from another planet. But they all sort of had the sort, the faces and the mouthpieces, and they looked and acted like humans. And then Galvatron was that first sort of weird spacey one with the space rocket, similar to Shockwave in terms of looking a bit more sort of creepy. And he was very maniacal as well. So Galvatron is a great one, and he would go obviously perfectly well with Rodimus Prime. That is why I would like Galvatron. Then for my other Autobot, I very much am wanting to put Prowl in that list. Now, Prowl as the police car was a really cool looking figure. I weighed up between Jazz and Prowl. I couldn't really work out which one I wanted, so it was a toss up between the two. But Prowl is a very cool looking figure, and that whole look to him. And again, as you see with these figures with the Rodimus Prime with the wings on the back, and as you're going to get with Starscream, that whole look would be fantastic. So Prowl is next on my list. And then sticking with the Autobots, so my second Autobot there is Ultra Magnus. Now there is an Ultra Magnus, but it's from the Bumblebee, and it's very much a repaint of this figure. And I don't want that. I want the big clunky Ultra Magnus, where his truck trailer combines with him to become the bigger figure. And I think that would look great. And sort of imagine him up over the height of these guys here. And I know he's not everyone's cup of tea, but I really did like Ultra Magnus. In that movie, he was done dirty in my view, but I really do love Ultra Magnus as a character, so he would be next on my list. And then I'm finishing my 5 with a Dinobot, of course, Grimlock, the T-Rex leader of the Dinobots. And it's really weird growing up as a kid with the comics and the cartoons, because in the comics, the American version of the comics, the mainstream comic, the classic comic, it was almost like he was the Hulk in the way he spoke. Me, Grimlock. And it was very sort of, that type of speech pattern. Whereas the UK version, when we did our own UK based stories, like the 0.5 that sat in between the main timeline, Grimlock was smart and he was sassy and he was cocky. And it was almost a very sort of different Grimlock that we got. And then the cartoon obviously went for the me, Grimlock way, which is where that voice comes from. I haven't made that up. That was a voice. So I would just really want Grimlock. I think he's such a cool looking figure as well. He'd have that brilliant sword that comes with him. And you could even, if you want for a second headpiece, give him the crown when he gave himself Grimlock, King Grimlock, the Autobot leader. So that's my 5. Little recap on those 5. Of course, I'll take all the classic Transformers, thanks so much. No problem at all, ThreeZero. Keep them coming. But in terms of what my wallet could sustain at the moment, they're the 5 I'd really, really like to get to create an excellent centerpiece with the figures. So that's my 5. But what's your 5? Do let me know. I'd be really interested to hear what you think. Well, what do you think of my picks? And it's just my opinion, of course. What's your opinion? What ones do you like? What would you add to that list? Is there any different ones that you add to the list? And why would you do that? Let me know. drop it down in the comments. And if you are already liking and subscribing, as I always say, thank you so much. Really appreciate everyone who takes the time to put up with my videos. And if you're not and you'd like to like and subscribe, then I've got loads of other stuff on my channel for you to take a look at with some really marvellous action figures. So that's it. Thanks very much. I'll see you in another video. Bye for now.